Okay, so briefly, we are still in the midst of some air quality testing in the safety building, which should be done by 6, but we're hopeful that the safety building will be open tomorrow. The courthouse is going to be closed at least the rest of the week. We have on backup, I think, full power restored to both, which is great because it means cleaning can go faster. And as you guys have by now probably seen, we've got people working their tails off around the clock to go through 1 million square feet of courthouse and make sure we're safe.
What's changed since yesterday when we thought the courthouse might be open by tomorrow?
Well, nothing's changed about the fact that we won't take any risks. As I said yesterday, there's parts of the building where if you went in and you didn't know anything had gone wrong, you would have no idea it wasn't perfectly safe, but we're not going to risk that, and we're going to go through every square inch of 1 million square feet to be sure. And it'll go faster now because, again, at least with the temporary generators, we've got power restored, which means, water and equipment they can use to clean works better. But with the safety building, again, we'll know for certain by 6, but looks pretty good. Being able to be open, that means that a lot of court processes, and I think you probably talked to the judge here, at least, will be able to flow to some degree until we can get back to fully normal operations. But in the meantime, as I've said, we're working as hard as we can, as fast as we can, and a lot of people are making sure we get back to normal operations as fast as possible.
Are there any hazardous materials issues with the cleanup?
Well, part of that is what we're testing with the in the safety building. The air itself in the safety building tested out all right, but that's not enough. They have to check the actual HVAC, which is not currently on. So, and the idea is just making sure that when they turn it on, it doesn't suddenly push out a lot of particulate matter. And again, that's not something we want to take any chances on. But again, we should have some answers on that by 6 even today.
Asbestos issues with damaged materials, tile?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the specifics on asbestos. Maybe you heard anything on that?
No specifics on asbestos, but certainly as a precaution because there's odor from the smoke in the courthouse. We're going through the process on the first 4 floors. Obviously scrubbing down the floors, the walls, all of the surfaces, and we're also replacing all of the tiles from the ceiling and replacing much of the carpet in the first several floors. Again, that's more related to the smoke odor than it is asbestos. I don't have anything to tell you in terms of asbestos at all at this point.
So you're confident that it will reopen next week?
As I said yesterday, my approach to planning anything is budget for the apocalypse and shoot for paradise. I'm going to be prepared for a worst case scenario, and I don't get to take risks on your behalf, and I won't. I hope it is, but we'll see. We'll work as fast as we can, and I think one more detail about the question about the air quality. That's not a determination, as Don said, that we make. There's I believe it's the Institute for Air Quality. They have to have the green light, and we're letting the experts give us the green light before we make any determination. So there's not going to be any scenario where we think, hey, this smells great, let's go back in. Not good enough. We have to make sure we get their sign off. So they're working on it.
So do county workers continue to get paid this week but not report here? What happens with the county workers?
County
and the
workers
services?
Actually are spread out quite a bit. I just came from city campus, just about 20 blocks west or 10 blocks west. And we have a lot of people from a lot of departments there. We have people at COGS. We have people working remotely. We've set up remote access places where people can get remote access to the servers. And we're maintaining as much service as we can. But for people who, because they don't have access to be able to work, they're still going to be compensated for it.
Any talk of using furlough days to make up for some of this lost time?
Not yet. You're the first talk of furlough days. I hadn't really thought about it yet. Right now, 100% of our focus is on ensuring safety, restoring functionality as fast as we can, starting and prioritizing with public safety services, and doing it in a way that's responsible. And then obviously, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm concerned that we we're also handling it in a way that doesn't, working with our insurance to make sure that everything gets covered. And they've been great to work with. And, as I said also yesterday, I want to make sure that taxpayers don't get stuck with the bill or lose service if we have anything to do about it.
Any time frame when you'd be able to start testing the air quality?
The air quality in the safety building is being tested right now in the HVAC, and my understanding is they should have more information by 6 tonight. And they've been doing tests of just the ambient air prior to that, which again tests out fine. It's just the HVAC. And then on the courthouse, I'm not sure exactly when if we have a date yet on that. They're doing the cleanup still.
Yeah, that's to Chris's point. There's really no benefit in doing any of the testing because there's so much movement going on.
Yeah.
Everybody that's doing work in there has the masks to protect themselves. But since there's so much movement of the air because of the people in there doing the work, it just makes no sense to do any testing at this point.
What's the plan for court proceedings?
Sure. I'm a little reluctant to say what we're going to plan to do tomorrow because it's contingent on the safety building being open. And since I don't have that go-ahead yet, I don't want to put something out to the public about what they should do tomorrow and then have something happen where we don't have the safety building tomorrow. So I would, beg your indulgence on that. And as soon as I know if it's 6 o'clock or later, I will announce what the plan is. But my concern is if I simply say, if the building's open, here's the plan, a lot of people are going to miss that if. And if we don't have the building, then we're going to have a lot of people down here that are going to get confused. And we already have enough of a problem with missed court appearances from yesterday and today. So, I'm trying to be as patient as I can, which for me is a challenge. But hopefully by 6 or so, we'll be able to say what the plan is for tomorrow. I mean, if it's not going to be open, then I've got to come up with a different plan.
All jury trials moved to the next week at a minimum?
There will not be, no matter what happens with respect to the safety building, there will not be any jury trials this week, and all jurors that were scheduled to report tomorrow are going to be postponed. They're going to reach as many of them by phone, but many of them we don't have phone numbers for. So the main message right now is for anybody who's scheduled to report as a juror should stay home tomorrow. They'll get a notice from the clerk's office as to when they should report in the future.
How important is it that you get space open and get some of these cases through?
Well, it's critically important to us. I mean, we have a number of defendants in custody in the jail who have constitutional rights and speedy trial rights and interstate detainer rights that demand that we give them court appearances and court hearings within a set period of time, or we potentially lose jurisdiction. So it's critical that we have those courts open as soon as it's safe to do so.
Is there any talk of using another county facility perhaps for those critical cases?
If that comes to that, we will have a plan. We've talked about some contingency plans. I don't want to announce anything or go down that road if we don't have to. If we can be back at work in the safety building tomorrow, that's our goal if it's safe and if we get the go-ahead from the experts. But if not, we will announce a different plan.
How many cases so far have had to be rescheduled?
Just off the top of my head, I'd say thousands between the 2 days, clearly, easily thousands.
Any talk of night court, weekend court?
We'll see let's see how far this goes, how long it lasts, and then if we can, absorb them within our normal hours, we will do that. If we have to bring in some reserve judges or increase court hours, we'll talk about doing that if we need to meet the requirements that we have to meet.
I'd like to add here, often in these situations we talk inappropriately about the commitment from first responders to incidents that happen. And the last couple of days have been a great illustration about the rest of the criminal justice system. You know, you hear the Chief Judge talk about the importance of making sure that we're respecting right to speedy trial and the rights to everybody who participates in the system. And he, the district attorney, and everybody who has also been regularly meeting with us are very, very committed. And if you hear his impatience, that's not for him, that's for you, and we should be glad for it.
Taking a quick step back on
Sure.
that report that was released in February, it said that the building didn't have sprinklers and that it wasn't up to code. Was that the case? And if it was, are sprinklers being installed in this cleanup process, or are efforts being made to bring it up to code?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that detail, but you know, in the 2+ years I've been in office, there is no safety precaution that I will skip over. We take everything extremely seriously, and when I say, even if we feel that an awful lot of the courthouse right now, you could probably walk in and be safe, we're still going to scrub 1 million square feet inch by inch, and we're not going to make any assumptions until we get the sign off from, you know, not our opinion, but say with AIR, the Institute for Air Quality, you know, the experts.
Does that mean you're cleaning the entire building top to bottom?
Yep.
So how much is this going to cost between lost time, paying county workers, the cleaning crews?
Well, I guess the answer to that is the question was how much is it going to cost? No more than it has to, and no less than it needs to. And if that's not kind of the big dramatic number you're looking for, you know, and I said this yesterday, the way we're thinking about everything is just a solution that's going to be the best solution for you. We're not going to cut any corners, and so I neither want to put a bottom end or a top end on that number, but the one thing I will guarantee is I'm not going to accept a solution that doesn't guarantee full functionality and safely for the citizens who paid for it, which is your viewers.
County need to sit down once the courthouse reopens and talk about installing sprinkler systems and figuring out how to get the building up to code and what to do as a contingency plan if the courthouse ever has to close again like this, so the judge isn't stuck with 2 days of not having court.
Well, as I said before, you know, one thing people should know, the commitment of leadership at all parts of the justice system, and I think the judge would echo this, has been something you should all be proud of. You know, nobody makes excuses not to meet. Nobody says, hey, we can't get this done. It's just, hey, how are we going to work around this? Everybody has been focused on sharing information, working together, and finding solutions. To the first part of your question, I believe anytime you have an incident, whether you think you know everything about it or not, you should always debrief and see what can we learn, what can we do better. You know, I'm never going to be able to tell you that any project I ever take on, I'll get 100% right. Nobody can guarantee that. What I can tell you is I'm not going to make any flyer decisions, and I'm going to be disciplined and plan and responsible. It's not my money, it's not my resources, it's yours, and I take that seriously. All right, thanks.